Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 236. When we last left our heroes, the fight with what we thought was the Titanic Infernal continued for a little while until the real Titanic Infernal arrived, being Raffles I, or his doppelganger. Kind of hard to tell. Um, and as he kind of just laid waste to the mountainside, Shinra arrived. The two kind of squared off. Kurono watching the two of them creepily from atop one of the spokes of the wheels. Spokes of the wheel, singular. But anyway, yeah, all that being said, jumping right on into Chapter 236, another reunion. And our picture here is the moon, with Shinra. I remember every time I see the moon. Madness is all this world has ever known. They have our scan later page, and then we open where we left off with Shinra staring Raffles down. Raffles versus Shinra. Decide who the true savior is. And then we see Company 8's Matchbox, which makes sense. They were, behind Shinra. And then Obi calls out to Shinra. Shinra, focus on the Titan. Roger. And then some Company 2 mooks call out, the 8th? What are you traitors doing here? And Vulcan snaps at them. How about you save that kind of talk for another time? But the Company 2 guy snaps at Vulcan. What are you planning? You can't just do whatever you want. So I have talked a good bit about how it never really seems clear that Company 8 is being treated as traitors. Just because they've been pretty blazing about being in Asakusa. And sure, that's because it is Asakusa that they can kind of do that. But it's nice to get a reminder that they're, kind of outlaws at the moment. And Juggernaut calls up to Shinra. Shinra-kun, I'll cover you. But Shinra calls down. Don't worry, I'll handle this. Eh? With Adola closer, my pyrokinetic ability has gotten stronger. I should be able to go light speed on my own now. Oh, yeah, because I guess if Sho can do that, then I guess Shinra could too. Damn. That sure beats having another training arc. Adola's closer, so we can do anything now. And Juggernaut asks him, when you took out that demon in the Chinese peninsula? The lightspeed kick? And then Obi calls back, the 8th will handle putting the Infernals to rest. And one of the guys from the 2nd just looks at him confused. And then we see another flash of light that erupts across the mountainside. And through the rubble, Obi calls out, don't worry about us, Shinra. Go! And Vulcan murmurs, no, this is Pan, my bad. If we keep getting blasted like this, we're done for. Karin, our duty is to set up a defense. I want a shield across the coastline. The whole thing? I'll focus all my buffs on you. We need it done before the next attack. I'll give it a shot. And then he sighs, Scale shield, full force deployment. Which does answer the question I had a couple of chapters ago about where that barricade came from. That seems to be Karin's ability. And I'm not sure if we've ever seen Karin's ability before this, because Karin has never exactly had a whole lot to do. He's just kind of been in the background. But Ogun watches as the scales cover the entire mountain like a dome. And Ogun calls out, that's my captain. Karin's going in too. And Karin calls out, damn straight. But just then we see 3 more lights on the spokes of the wheel. And someone calls out, it's about to attack. And it hits off the shield and just kind of deflects. Karin's shield holds. And Obi sees that the shield is still fine. And Pan tells him, nice work, Karin. Thank you, sir. Remember the spirit of Company 4! And all the 4th guys start chanting, we're the 4th. We never leave a man behind. Our duty is to protect the survivors. And Shinra looks down at the shield. I guess Karin's good for something after all. And then he finally turns back to Raffles. I've got my hands full too. Starting with putting you to rest. The two of them, Shinra stares down Raffles, as Raffles just looks at him blankly. And just then, I think that's Fairy's gravity attack that's hitting Shinra here. Because he feels a sudden weight. What the? Why is my body suddenly so heavy? And then he fires up his feet even more to like push back against gravity. Ugh. And then Fairy comes in and delivers a kick directly to Shinra's head, which might mean that we're going to be dealing with Shinra with Fairy, where we can actually deal with Raffles. But after Fairy kicks Shinra down, he still ends up floating because that's how Fairy's gravity powers work. This is just not how gravity works at all. But whatever. How doth it feel to be kicked downwards and fly into the sky? And then Shinra activates his feet again and kind of tries to get a balance on himself, but it doesn't quite work. And then he gets kicked again by Fairy. He just kind of ends up getting hit all over the place. Gah, shit! I can cast your gravitational pull into complete disarray. Doth it please thee to fall in every different direction? And Shinra can barely get out. Can't straighten myself out! And then all of a sudden he kind of rights, or not quite rights himself, he's still upside down. Huh? Have I got control back? But then he starts falling again. Just so Fairy can kick him again in the face this time. Whoa! Wah! Damn it! Wah! And he starts flying upwards. And then there's something seems to hit him in the chest this time. Oh no! It's Sho's sword! He's like, as Shinra was falling upward, Sho catches him with his sword, to stop him from falling. What are you doing, brother? Why not just finish off a foe like him in a single flash? And Shinra just lets out, I can't even tell which way I'm falling. One screw up at light speed and I'll end up outside of the atmosphere. I've got to make sure I'm safe before I can think about. And just then he finally realizes what's going on. Sho! And he gets him his upside down hug. Sho makes the cutest face here with his oof. That's just some good shit here. Some good Kusakabe shit. I've had my complaints about how clean Sho's redemption or Sho's breaking free of his brainwashing was, but it's worth it for a panel like this. And Shinra writes himself, "Hup, Sho, what are you doing here? Are you alright? Nothing bad happened to you." And Sho stops him. We can talk later. The Titan first, huh? And the two of them look at Raffles. And then Fairy disappears. The cast hath assembled. My work is complete. The preparations are in perfect order. All hope of their hopes shall be plucked. And Sho turns to Shinra. For now, just do your best, brother. The world needs to know you're a hero. And Shinra looks confused for a moment. Yeah, I don't really get it, but being a hero is why I'm here. The brothers finally reunited. With the both of them assembled, no foe can stand in their way. To be continued, chapter 237, Hero. And then we have a color version of Sho's arrival scene. Interestingly, I didn't point this out earlier, but Sho is back in his white-clad garb. Which is... I'm not saying I was expecting him to show up in his Argyle for this. But showing up in the enemy's uniform is kind of particular. It might just be that he doesn't really have any other, set-in-stone battle clothes. And he doesn't really know much better, given that he's been in the cult his entire life. But yeah, the chapter itself, this feels like it's the last setup chapter to the fight with Raffles. The past, 3 chapters have been very slowly setting up all of the pieces, or as Fairy would put it, assembling the cast, which is kind of the most... Maybe it's just the fact that the name is Fairy, and the way that he talks. I got a sudden, for some reason, Midsummer Night's Dream popped into my head. And I don't remember that play being particularly fourth wall breaking. But I don't know, something about it. I don't know, maybe it's just being random. Or the fact there are fairies in it, and Fairy and his speaking style. Anyway, actual focusing now. yeah, again, this does feel very much like a setup chapter. Both in, the two things it does is it gets the rest of the cast out of the fight. They're busy with the Infernals. And Shinra does not have to worry about them thanks to Karin's shield and Pan's buffs. Um, and then it sets up Sho's arrival. With Fairy. Fairy's kind of the wild card here because Fairy just kind of shows up and then he doesn't really do anything. Or like he kind of fucks with Shinra for a while. But like Sho arrives and Fairy's like, all right, I don't need to be here anymore. But it doesn't really seem like he accomplished anything. Like it's not like him beating up on Shinra is why Sho arrived, as far as I can tell. Like Sho would have been there either way. So yeah, I don't exactly know why Fairy was doing all that. Other than to remind us he has one of the most nonsensical powers I've ever heard. Like, I said this when we first got the explanation of Fairy's powers, but it's just not how gravity works, even vaguely. But whatever, let's roll with it. But then yeah, now Sho and Shinra are here to handle Raffles. For a second, I was thinking, like, we have, like, a Sho Fairy rematch, to allow Shinra to fight Raffles himself. But it does look like it's going to be the brothers tag teaming against Raffles. And that'll be fun to see. We haven't, like, Raffles' main body hasn't really done anything yet. It's just been the lasers on the wheel spokes that have had all the action. So I'm curious to see what exactly is gonna happen with Raffles. We also don't really know what the deal is with Raffles. The fact that he's so destructive makes him not really feel like a doppelganger, because I can't imagine that's the public perception of Raffles is someone who would just kill everybody for no real reason. So who knows what he is? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see next time. But for now, I think that's everything I have for this chapter. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!